Welcome to Titan HST's Business Continuity Today, hosted by Todd DeVoe, where planning meets reality.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are at in this fine nation. And we have a really busy emergency management news cycle going on right now. But my name is Todd DeVoe, Director of Emergency Management at Titan HST. And I also teach in the post-secondary level. And I love learning new things and teaching and sharing what I've learned. And this month, we're coming to the end of National Preparedness Month. And, why do we do National Preparedness Month? And I think with this hurricane bearing down on Florida, kind of opens that door that says, we need to help prepare our organizations for any type of disaster that is coming their way. And I know that 9/11 is the reason why it started, because we weren't preparing for everything, including terrorism and whatnot, right after 9/11. And then, of course, we have Hurricane Katrina that came in and really showed how unprepared some communities are. And, now we have Hurricane Michael that came in and again showed how, homes aren't ready necessarily with that one, the one house standing on the beach, showing how there's homes that need to be prepared. And research has gone into making homes better. You have insurance companies that are putting a lot of money and time into figuring out how we can build wind resistance homes up to, I know that the Fortified is working on homes up to Category 3, which, interestingly enough, the hurricane coming in right now, some reports are saying it's a Category 4 already. AccuWeather is reporting Category 4 hurricane winds that are coming up. But the thing that they're also worried about over there in Florida is the storm surge and what that's going to do to the buildings and homes and to the people that are going to be direct hit. And so this is the type of stuff that we should be thinking about as business continuity professionals, is how do we keep our people safe around the world, necessarily, depending on if you're a global company, definitely international company. You have people working in all states, interesting enough, even small companies, right? We have people in all over the place, right? New York and Florida and Texas and here in California. And, so one of the jobs I have is to keep track of what's happening across the country here to see how it is impacting our employees. And I think that's realistically, what system do you have set up, right, to track storms, to track other issues that are happening, whether it's protests that are coming. We have the elections coming up. Are we prepared for those? If there's protests that are happening for that, so we really need to take that all hazards approach to really being prepared. All right, and what does that mean? Right. So National Preparedness Month comes through. One of the things that we participated in was 30 days and 30 ways, 30 tips for you to be prepared, whether it's personally or professionally speaking at the job, keeping your stuff ready to go. Right. And during this time in California, we had a wildland fire and it was pretty devastating up in Hemet, California. And I actually spoke to a family who was evacuated during that time, and they did not have. They couldn't wait. They didn't. The emergency alert system was not set out to tell people to evacuate. The first thing they noticed was smoke and fire, and it was in their area, and they knew they had to leave. Unfortunately, one of their neighbors didn't leave in a timely fashion, and 2 people lost their lives, and one of their neighbors was severely burned. And when I was speaking to them, I was asking them about their home, and it didn't burn. and I was saying, "Hey, what'd you guys do?" And so what they did is they created the defensible space, like we talk about all the time around buildings. Create that defensible space so when the fire does come, there's no fuel for it to burn. Also, they worked on having their eaves properly sealed, for fire, and they did everything right, and their home didn't get damaged due to the fire. And that's realistically the stories that we need to share, right? We need to share stories of success, of how companies and individuals and organizations are prepared for these events because they're going to happen, right? Fires are going to happen in California. We're going to have earthquakes in California. Tornadoes are going to happen in the tornado belt, right? You have hurricanes that are happening in the southeast, right? We have one, like I said, bearing down this week onto Florida, the Tampa Bay area. And are we, as an organization, really projecting forward on how these events can impact us? Now, I know we talk a lot about internally at the building, at the physical organization, right? At our where we're going to work every day, right? But if our independent, they are independent. If our employees, right, aren't independently prepared to respond to and be ready for an event, how does that impact your organization's ability to continue to provide services, right? And I really believe that as organizations that we need to support our employees in their preparedness efforts. So one of the things I'd like to see, and National Preparedness Month was a great way to do this, right, is to have trainings, right? And now I'm not saying you have to go and spend thousands of dollars, on training and bring people into a classroom, right? We could do those simple things as the infographics and share them with the employees. Get the little videos that FEMA has out and remind our employees to be ready. Ask them what they're doing to be prepared and how we can assist them to be prepared. Because at the end of the day, our organizations are built around people, right? And as much as people think that organizations are this autonomous thing, right, and that we're cogs in a wheel, it is built upon their people. And if our people aren't able to come into work and do their job, how are we able to provide services that we need to the people who we are working with, right? So, for instance, even if it's Home Depot, right? I think is a really great example of what they do for preparedness. Home Depot has teams of people that will go and respond to disaster areas to help their employees, right? I think that's an amazing part. Help their employees recover from the disaster so they can get back to work to serve the community, because Home Depot is one of those places that the rest of the community needs to get to repair and recover from disaster or prepare for disaster. So for instance, what's happening with hurricanes, right? Getting plywood or sheetwood to put up in front of their windows to help alleviate the damage that occurs with the winds and the debris flowing around, right? In case of places like Oklahoma, Moore, Oklahoma, for instance, when homes are completely devastated, rebuild the community from the ground up. And the organizations like Home Depot and Lowe's, there's another one that does it too. They're there. They send teams to support their employees to get them up and running again, so their stores can get up and running to support the community. I think that's really one of the things that we should be aiming for as organizations, right? Is to really take time, step back, and see how can we support our employees to be prepared for disasters, right? Especially when we know that things are going to happen in areas like the southeast, where there's always going to be storms coming, flooding, and the hurricanes. In the Midwest with the tornadoes. What are we doing to prepare our employees for fires in California? Another great success story is Paramount Studios, and what they do for their employees is during the fires a couple years ago, is they were able to bring them into into the homes of some of the people that weren't impacted, and in some cases they bring them into the studio to take care of them there, to make sure that they are safe, right? And then they help them rebuild if need be. These are the things that we need to do as organizations to help our employees be prepared and be ready. I think we need to take the lessons of National Preparedness Month and really embrace them as a culture in our community, in our organization. Right? We talk about the culture of preparedness for the community. We need to have a culture of preparedness for our organizations, and we need to lead. And that, by having the culture of preparedness in our side, our businesses and our organizations, is going to help the community be prepared because our individual employees are ready. That means there's more individuals in the community that are ready, which will actually 10x that in the world. I think that's exciting stuff. So be a leader, lead forward, and say, "Hey, our I would like to see a commitment from you all today to say that our organization is dedicated to preparing our employees for disaster, right? And that way we can help them out when these things happen. We have these storm bearing down on us in Florida, and our employees that are in Florida are prepared and ready to go. If we can say that confidently, we're going to make a difference in this world. We're going to make a difference in the community, and I think that's exciting. Hey, everybody, I really appreciate your time. And for all your communication needs, talk about preparedness. When the grid goes down, always need to make sure that you can communicate with your organization, and Titan HST is leading the way in that. So for more information, please visit us at titanhst.com. Hit click a demo. Let them know you heard them from here. And until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay hydrated, and everybody in Florida that's getting ready for this category 3 or 4 hurricane which is coming to you, please be ready and let us know how we can help. Take care.